Adam's Corner. I just want to thank everybody for continually watching, continually supporting. I believe God is doing something major. I believe that every video is an opportunity for people to get the word in an unprecedented way. And I believe that God is moving through every single podcast. So if you do see it, please share, please like, please comment, because all of it is needed. But more than anything, I almost plead and beg of you to get it in the hands of every single man that you know. Adam's Corner is for the man that is searching and looking for more. The man that says this just can't be it and there has to be more to life. The man that says, I know that I was created for more, but I do not know how to reach that place. You found the right place. And it's Adam's Corner, a place specifically designed just for you. So today, if I had to title this message more than anything, today the title of this message is Before Eve. I was riding the other day in the car, and when I was riding, the thing that hit me was I started thinking about Eve, and I started thinking about Adam. I started thinking about God, and that whole interaction that happened within the course of Genesis. And what I saw, and what Holy Spirit gave me was God did not delay in making Eve. He did not forget, he did not delay, but it was very intentional to what Adam had to do. He delayed her because he was forming a man who could sustain what he prayed for. There was something beyond the friendship with God and Adam. Before there was a wife, before there was responsibility over her, before there was responsibility in the multiplication that he called to us having children. There was formation in the private. And see, in Genesis 2, he's formed, he's given breath, he's given an assignment, he's given territory, he's given language, and he's also given a responsibility. This was all before he was given a woman. And so in the car, I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, and I'm like, well, God knows absolutely everything. And because he knows absolutely everything, he had the opportunity to say, well, I know that Adam's going to need Eve. So because I know that Adam's going to need Eve, why don't I just create Adam and Eve together at one time? I'm sure more than anything, Father was looking and he said it would be a great opportunity for Eve to experience the first sunrise ever. For Eve to be able to walk through the garden with Adam and begin to name all the animals. I could see the discourse between the two of them. Like, no, honey, let's name him that. No, honey, I think this would be a better name for that. And God could have done it. And so I'm saying to myself in the midst of that, well, did God forget? Or was he not able to? What's the reason? Like, why would he wait? And the thing that came to me more than anything was God waited because Adam needed God to wait before he gave him Eve. See, there's something that today in 2026, the 2026 man, that it correlates back to the garden that I need us to get and catch, that God needed Adam to catch, and that God needs the 2026 version of us Adams to also create, for us to also catch. And see, formation was in the process. See, Adam learned there was things that he had to learn in the garden before Eve was brought to him. And there were simple things like Adam had to learn how to hear God's voice. Adam had to learn how to steward the garden. Adam had to learn how to manage his territory and how to manage and to name things. See, all of these things were absolutely important because God needing him to know exactly what his voice sounded like. The word says, my sheep know my voice, and a stranger they should not follow. And when we look across the world today, man, so many of us are making so many different decisions that only lead to our bad, to our downfall, because we hear every voice but God's. I can tell you what social media says about what's going on in my marriage, what's going on in my house. I can tell you what my friends say who don't have wives, and I'm a person that's married but listening to single people. I can tell you what everybody else can say but God about my situation. And so the one thing that God needed Adam to understand was, before I give you absolutely anything else to speak to, I need you to hear my voice. He needed him to learn how to steward the garden. Most of us right now have homes and kingdoms that Father blessed us with, and we have no practical application of what it really means to steward. And we're drowning and we're going deeper and deeper, and it's all because I have no idea of what it truly means to steward what Father has given me. So I can make comments like, the finances is enough when I get a little bit more, or the marriage just isn't where I needed to be. I have to wait till it get a little bit more. And it's all due to the fact of I have no real understanding of how important it is to know how to steward what Father has blessed me with. He had to learn how to manage his territory. There was belongings and thing in his area and region that was his. Father says, this is yours. I've called you to manage it. That means take care of it. That means protect it. That means to do for it. And the question I could ask is, are we doing good with managing what Father has placed in our hands? Too often we're really not. And we're not managing it correctly as Father really needs us to. And the last thing was naming things. I thought this was so important because too often everybody knows, if you asked about Adam, you would know that he's famous for naming things. He had to name all the animals. And I started thinking about the 2026 man, the version of us. And while we don't have the task and the responsibility of naming all of the animals, he's called us to still name things within our lives. And it caught me off guard when I thought about this. And I said, because we're not naming things in our lives, we're allowing other people to place names on things that we're going through, and we live it out. So because it don't look like what Father has revealed to us that will have the abundant life, and because I can't see it that way and I don't have verbiage for it, the enemy tells us you're in lack. And now I start living out what lack looks like because I don't understand what's going on physically in my body right now. And because I can't speak to it. And again, I don't have the verbiage. The enemy says, you're sick. You have cancer. You're dying. And all of this plays on my mind because he's given names to things that Father told me I was supposed to name. This is why, Adam, he made Eve wait so you could understand your responsibility. And what came to me was a man who has not learned to hear God alone will struggle to lead anyone later. This is what I mean by that. If you cannot walk with God alone, you will use a woman to fill space only God was meant to occupy. Many men want companionship before anything. We search for it. There's millions of dating apps. We always asking our man, yo, put me on, put me on, put me on. And the craziest thing is we have yet to see, well then, if it was so important for me to have someone, why hasn't Father sent her to me yet? And so because Father hasn't sent me my person yet, I run through a million relationships that I was never intended on running through because I don't have the patience to do what I need to before Eve gets there. Sheesh. See, Adam had a job to do before his wife showed up. God wanted everything to be in place that when Eve came, Adam was a complete and a full man. He was the man that Eve needed, as well as everything that would incorporate what he was given ownership needed. And see, before Eve came, God gave a common command that all of us know. And he said, concerning the garden, I need you to work it and keep it. So I'm thinking, work it and keep it, work it and keep it. Work shows cultivation. Keep it shows protection. So before Eve showed up, Adam was productive, he was responsible, and he was given the responsibility of guarding something. See, men today are often introduced to women before they have an assignment. And without an assignment, masculinity drifts. I'm going to say this again. Oh my gosh. Men today are often introduced to women before they have an assignment. And without an assignment, masculinity drifts. I know you're saying, well, Why do you say that? And what does that mean? Or what does that have to concern me? Because I don't feel like my masculinity left. I feel like I'm a strong man. I feel like I'm the man that my situation needs. And what came to me is a couple of different things that I want to show you. The first thing is said, many men are overstimulated but underdeveloped. We have all of these problems of life that we're carrying on our shoulders. We're overstimulated. It's just so much. The weight feels so crazy, and so many men are going through depression, and we're dying early because of all of the weight we're carrying because of stress and because I'm overstimulated, but yet I'm underdeveloped. I don't know the way to properly get these things off of me, so I carry it. And because I carry it, it starts to come out in other facets. I begin to scream when things don't go my way or I don't get what I want. This is underdevelopment. This is immaturity. I begin to die early because of sickness. This is underdevelopment. Father called you to live a long life, but because we're underdeveloped, we're not walking as the complete and whole man that God has called us to be because masculinity is left. I'll give you another one. We're socially loud, but we're spiritually quiet. Most men are on everything. You're on all of these social media platforms. I'm commenting. I want my voice to be heard. I'm everywhere. I'm not quiet by any means necessary. I'm loud by nature and action. I'm loud, but I'm spiritually quiet. Spiritually quiet. What do you mean? There's no intimacy between me and the Father. I don't know him personally at all completely. I don't really have a prayer life. I don't really have a home, a church home that I attend, and I put my hands to the plow like I'm supposed to because I understand that as a man, Adam, I'm first a priest in my home. What does that mean? Well, you might have a job that you do every single day, but you are not that thing. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't care if you're a producer. I don't care if you're a rapper. I don't care wherever you work. You are not that. First and foremost, you have been called a priest. And because I don't understand who I've been called to be first, everything else gets to dictate what they call me. And I answer. So if I said, who are you? You'll answer with, I'm a father, I'm a doctor, I'm a rapper, I'm a boxer, I'm all of these type of things. And yet, last, until somebody pushes it forward, do I say I'm a priest. I'm a son of God. And these are the most important things that we will place last. I'm attracted, but not anchored. Most of us could say we see a person who walks in the light. I can see what it looks like to have a relationship with Father. I can see the peace on somebody. I can see what it's supposed to be like. I'm attracted, but I'm not anchored. I haven't given my full buy-in because I don't understand what it looks like to me. So it's attracted. Yeah, I like what it looks like. Yeah, I like the idea of going to church. I like the idea of having a Proverbs 31 woman. I like the idea of being able to pray and Father hearing from me from heaven. I like the idea of having godly kids. I like the idea of having... But I have no skin in the game to be able to say, this is what I'm going to do because I'm not anchored. And this is what it looks like when masculinity drifts because all of my apples are in Eve rather than my buy-in being in my Father. God let Adam feel purpose, territory, and authority before he ever felt attraction. Adam felt the weight of the responsibility before the pull of attraction, because a man who doesn't know his assignment will be ruled by his appetite. He'll be ruled by the things that he wants. So I'll rush and go after the bag. I'll rush and go after making money. I'll rush and go after women and drinking and crazy things because I don't have an understanding of who I am, Adam. It also means many men today feel attraction before they feel purpose. They chase bodies before building, relationships before responsibility, romance before revelation, pleasure before provision. And with attraction, when attraction becomes primary, purpose becomes optional. That's when confusion enters. Purpose can never be optional. You were created for something. And the world knows that you were created for more. But the world also knows that as long as it can do whatever it takes to get you not to find the purpose, it can give you a definition of what it wants you to be, and you'll walk it out. And that's why so many of us, I say it in almost every Adam Corner, most of us are feeling a void right now inside of our life of there has to be more. There has to be more. I just can't keep living like this. Life just can't just be working every day. I get up and all I do is work, and it feels just so hard, and the struggle, and it's just never was supposed to be that. And it's because we're finding everything but purpose. And I'll say it again. When you find purpose, provision follows. Adam, during his whole intercourse with Adam and God made sure it was only Adam and God on purpose. He wanted to have him have no comparison, no distraction, no validation loop, and no social media. Just presence. God said, I don't want you to be able to focus on absolutely anything but me and you in the garden. I just want your attention to be on me. Yeah, he could have gave him Eve, but he also knew that if he'd have gave him Eve, then his focus would have been spread. And God's saying, being whole and complete, I need you to just focus on me. I need it to just be me and you, because your attention, you don't do good when it's on everything else but me. And see, I learned that men today struggle with a couple of things. Men struggle with emotional dependency. See, we rely on women's social media affirmation, approval from others to feel stable, worthy, and secure. See, this is the downfall of social media. We're raising a generation, and we don't even realize it, on likes, on followers, on instant affirmation. This culture-trained man is doing us a disservice to seek reaction instead of building resilience. Everything for a like, everything for a follow. But yet, the real man inside of you is so close to breaking. We're emotional dependent. If I don't get the likes that I hope when I post, I feel like I didn't do a good job. If I get dressed in my best and it don't get a bunch of likes, if the person next to me don't say you look nice, then I don't feel as confident. See, this is something that I might be like, that don't really concern me. But you know deep inside exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you post and you check every couple so often to see did the likes increase. And I'm worried about likes instead of me worrying about how it affected who it was supposed to. Identity through relationship. See, our relationships affirm us. We're borrowing identity instead of building it. The thing is to know, dealing with identity, is that when it's not formed vertically, identity will be formed horizontally. Identity vertically looks like Father giving me identity and telling me exactly who he's called me to be. You're more than a conqueror. You're a mighty man. You're the head and not the tail. You're blessed coming in and going out. These are the things that Father calls you. These are the attributes that he wants you to understand exactly who you are. But instead, because I haven't sought vertically for my identity and I'm seeking it horizontally, everybody I run in contact with, I want them to see exactly who I am, see what I drive, see what I dress, see the job that I have, see the house that I live in, because I want them to see it horizontally, and horizontally is more important than absolutely anything. Then again, when I don't get the likes, when I don't get the affirmation, everything falls by the wayside because My identity is in the wrong thing. And see, this is dangerous because when we place our identity in relationships, we tolerate disrespect just to avoid abandonment. We lose standards to keep connection. Compromise calling to keep companionship. We panic when things feel unstable because we're not, in all actuality, losing relationship. We're losing our identity source. And whether you know it or not, people know when they're able to move your identity in certain ways. I could tell him he looks this way and it's going to ruffle his feathers. It's going to make him feel not like himself today. People know this. And they count on being able to move you that easy. I just want you to know, Adam, more than anything, you're placing your chips all in the wrong basket. Needing affirmation from women to feel valuable. If a woman's affirmation is what makes you feel valuable, then her rejection has the power to destroy you. When you need her words to feel like a man, you've handed her authority over your identity. And no man can lead while someone else controls his worth. You can't give anybody else the ability to control who you are and who Father has called you to be, Adam, but God. See, Eve was a partner and not a mirror of worth. Eve was a partner and not a mirror of worth. And because our women today, our girlfriends, our wives, are our mirror of worth, our reflection comes from them, when really it should be coming from God. A man who needs constant affirmation is still spiritually an adolescent. See, I noticed the entire time there was silence and training the entire time. The word of God says Adam and God walked throughout the garden. And so I started looking and I'm like, words were jumping out of me. And I'm like, he walked. And so walking suggests, when using the Hebrew word, that there was dialogue. I mean, they talked as friends. There was process, there was correction, and there was growth. But more than anything, what I noticed about walking was God didn't rush him. And God didn't rush him because what he understood was a rushed man ruins what he receives. Let me say that again to you. A rushed man ruins what he receives. And see, men today, we're rushing relationships, we're rushing influence, we're rushing platforms, we're rushing intimacy. But God trained Adam in pace. He said, I'm not giving you everything too fast. Father understood it. And we're like a toddler. I want now. Microwave generation. It has to be quick. Success has to be quick. We moved away from parables and adages that said the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. How do you eat an elephant? Bite by bite. And we're too focused on it happening overnight. My success has to happen now. I have to meet her and we have to be married tomorrow. I have to get the job, and somehow I think when I get the job, I'll be the supervisor tomorrow. I have to find this platform that I see a vision of Father opening a podcast or something of that nature. And tomorrow, after I release my first video, I'm going to have 1 million views and begin to get paid for it. This is the thought when we forget that Adam walked with God. And what I'm telling you right now, and I pray that you feel it, slow down. Slow down, Adam. The journey isn't in the ending. The joy The joy isn't in the ending, but the joy is in the journey. If you can't walk with God alone in the garden, you won't stand with a wife in a storm. Today, what I need us to understand is God didn't create Eve at the same time as Adam for a reason. And he didn't give you her today for a reason. And it's because what he wants you to understand is there's something that you and him have to catch. There's something that God is saying today, I need you to still get from me. Now listen, this might not just be for you because you might be saying, well, I already got my girlfriend. Well, I'm already married. So how does this pertain to me? Because I'm married and I got my girlfriend, and you're speaking on people who don't have yet. And the one thing that I saw with this was, let me get this, because it's so powerful. God did not remove Adam's responsibility after the fall. He increased it. More was given to Adam after the fall. So I'm not saying that your marriage, your relationship is a fall. But what I'm telling you is now that you're in this situation, in this circumstance, you have more responsibility. And being that you have more responsibility, that means there's more weight on you to understand with urgency who you've been called, Adam. Because you will have to give an answer as the priest of your home, whether if you're walking in it or not. What did you do with what I gave you? And see, this is the craziness is Adam's failure wasn't eating fruit. Let me say this again, please catch it. Adam's failure wasn't eating fruit. It was silence when leadership was required. It was silence when leadership was required. I said this before in a video that I caught. Many of us look at it, and if we were to tell the whole story of Adam and Eve and the fall of man, and we could say, well, what happened? Whose fault was it to blame? The majority of us would point a finger at Eve and we would say it was because she ate fruit that she wasn't supposed to. When in all actuality, it was Adam's fault. And it was Adam's fault because Adam wasn't being the leader that he was supposed to. The snake had no business in the garden. The snake had no business in the garden. Well, how do you know this and why are you saying this? I'm saying this because when God came down after the fall, he came down and he didn't go to the woman and say, why'd you eat that? Oh my gosh, you messed up everything. Eve, oh my gosh. No, not at all. He went to Adam and he said, Adam, what happened? And in him asking him what happened, he was saying, Adam, we walked together. Adam, we talked together. Adam, we grew together. Adam, I showed you places where I needed you to come up. Adam, I talked with you specifically and prepared you for this moment. Adam, don't you remember the conversations of it was time for you to manage better? Adam, don't you remember that when I told you that only listen and hear my voice? Adam, do you remember this? The fall of man was on Adam's shoulders. And so I'm trying to tell you is there is a weight right now. There's a weight right now on your shoulders, regardless if you acknowledge it or not. There's a weight right now that when it comes your time, you're going to have to give an answer for how did your children line up? The word says children are an arrow in the hands of a skillful warrior. We're seeing today kids are going crazy. Crime getting younger and younger. People doing atrocities. Where are you at, Adam? Where are you at speaking to the youth? Where are you at speaking to the kids to tell them that identity that Father gave me, let me show you because it's my responsibility and job. Adam, where are you at?